Man, do we have a topic today that will warm Roy Smalley's heart, how Rocco Baldelli is trying to alter the Twins' hitting approach to basically what we've recommended all along. We're right here, Rocco. Anytime you need us, man, we're right here for you. Let's get started here on Chin Music. It's our baseball show at TalkNorth.com. The lineup today, as it is most weeks, former Twins star Roy Smalley, LaVelle and Neal, baseball writer and columnist at the Star Tribune. I'm Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune and TalkNorth.com. Best way to listen to any show you like at TalkNorth.com, including this one. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen. We are coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios. We were presented by Giggly, THC Beverages, and OnX Hunt. We'll tell you more about them shortly, as well as Clamshell Beach Resort, Minnesota Masonic Charities, and True Vision Institute. All right, gentlemen, let's start. We're going to get to first base, left field, Byron Buxton, what the Astros and Red Sox are doing, all kinds of stuff going on. What we want to start with is the fact that the new hitting coaches, along with Rocco Baldelli, they're trying to get more of a line drive, use the whole field approach, if I'm reading this accurately. Roy, I assume you approve.
Yeah, I mean, I've changed my whole thinking. Right, you've never heard that kind of thing from me.
Brand new, innovative.
So, here's what I think is important for all of us who are watching and thinking about what kind of approach for hitters to use, and in light of what Rocco and the hitting coaches are talking about. Here's what I think is important. You don't have to make guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark slap to the opposite field hitters. I mean, I've said this 1,000 times before, but it's not like all of a sudden they're going to go from hitting 310 home runs or whatever it was a few years ago to now hitting 6, and everybody hits singles and doubles the opposite field. That's not what they're talking about, or what they should be talking about. What they're talking about, I think, what they should be talking about is, look, every hitter, you need to have an approach so that at least when you get to 2 strikes, and maybe with 1 strike, you quit cheating on the fastball to your pull field and have an approach where you can put the ball in play. You will one way or the other. And every hitter, I think, what I learned over my time is that to be a really good hitter, you have to have an approach with 2 strikes at least that says, okay, I know how to hit a fastball to center, a line drive to center, or to the opposite gap. I know how to do that, and that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to get on the fastball speed, and I've worked to the point where I know how to let the ball travel back on the plate a little bit and try to hit that fastball to center field or the opposite gap. What that does is that if you get a fastball, you'll hit the ball to center field or the opposite gap. Sometimes you'll just react quickly and hit a home run to your pull field by accident, but just because you're watching the ball and you're a good hitter and you react. But you're trying to let the ball travel so that anything else that's thrown besides fastball that you would generally try to hit in the seats, you've got a chance to hit. And what we've seen from the Twins is an approach that says, look, I want the fastball from the middle of the plate in, and I'm going to hit it as hard as I can to my pull field, which means I'm going to jump out there quick, get the bat head out quickly, and then they're fooled by every other pitch, every other trajectory, every other speed, every other location. And so at least with 2 strikes, become the kind of hitter that isn't an automatic swing and miss on every other pitch besides the fastball that you want to hit a home run on. And I think that's just trying to get guys to be really good hitters. And if that's what they're trying to teach them, I think that's a great step. And I think that's really important. There are guys that you never want to take away a guy's aggressiveness and say, look, I'm in a fastball count, first ball pitch of the at bat, 1-0, 2-0, 3-1. I'm getting the bat head out here on a fastball. But, once that is not the same count anymore and or a guy's not pitching you the way you'd like him to pitch you, then you got to be able to say, okay, this is the way I want to hit this guy, but it's not going to be possible on in this particular count or this particular at bat. So I'm going to do some damage in a way that allows me not to be an automatic out. And I wholeheartedly endorse that.
LaVelle.
I find it interesting, and some hitters, it's hard to change their spots once they get to the majors. But if you can get them to make a little bit of an adjustment and take the ball the other way, it could be a good thing. I'm just curious to see how this worked out. I remember years ago, I went up to Tom Kelly before a game and I asked him, I said, Tom, how do you get your players to produce more with runners in scoring position? And Tom said, get better players. And I thought that was rather humorous, but I think we've seen it at times, especially with someone like Byron Buxton. If when Buck's going good, he's actually hitting line drives over that second baseman's head and up the middle, and he's hitting the ball hard, and that usually leads to his doubles and triples. But we also have seen Buck when he's been very, 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 very pull conscious and trying to pull everything to left, and it gets him into trouble. And he's a mess when he's trying to hit pitches that are off the plate away from him. So I spoke with Rocco about this during the media luncheon about a month ago. And his argument for doing this, too, is that he thinks one of the reasons they got off to a slow start last year offensively is because of their approach. And he thinks that during the early part of the season, when the weather's a little colder and the ball's not traveling, the try to pull everything as hard as you can method is not that effective. He thinks that once the weather gets warm, then maybe that's an approach you can prosper with. This way, he thinks this is going to help them get off to a faster start offensively. He seems to be hell bent on avoiding an early season slump like they had in 2024. So I'm curious to see this work. I think there's some guys can definitely benefit, and it will allow them to be more productive, especially when guys are on base, if they do take an approach that allows them to hit the ball hard up the middle or to the opposite field.
All right.
Well, here's the one thing that I will say. Yeah, I just want to say this. I am not buying the argument that once you're in the big leagues you can't change your spots. I'm not buying it. I watched, and we all watched, David Ortiz, who Tom Kelly, the aforementioned Tom Kelly, was forever pissed about because he wouldn't hit the ball in the opposite field. And the Twins let him go. Every other major league team passed on him, and the Red Sox took a chance. Ortiz goes to Fenway, realizes, holy cow, with my strength, I can flip the ball off the left field wall anytime I want to. Started setting up to hit the ball to center field and left center and off the wall, and became, what he became. What we all know. Everybody says, well, why did Twins let him go? Well, the Twins let him go because he wouldn't do what he did in Fenway. And guys can change their spots. Not only can they, if they won't, then that's when you get to a point where Tom Kelly's right. You just get better players. I mean, if they won't, then they don't, they won't last. So this is the right approach, if nothing else, with two strikes. But you know what? If you take that approach a little bit earlier, and this it feeds into knowing how the pitcher's going to try to get you out, right? So when a pitcher goes out there against Trevor Larnach or Matt Wallner, he doesn't say, boy, I don't care about these guys. I can throw them a knee-high fastball and inside middle. They'll never hit me. I mean, they're not going to do that. They're going to say, I'm going to show him fastball inside and throw him a bunch of changeups. So you have to figure out, how a guy's trying to get you out. And if you're not really sure, then set up for fastball speed and hit the ball up the middle and to the opposite gap. It's not that hard to change just that much. It's about developing a swing plane when you have to, when you can hit a fastball, like LaVelle's talking about Buck, over the opposite middle infielder's head. I mean, it's not that hard. And if the guys won't do it, then it is time to get different players.
I love it. And greatest example of change was Justin Morneau going from being a home run or nothing hitter as a young guy to being one of the most scientific hitters who wore out the opposite gap when he was at his best and ended up winning a batting title even after the concussions. Let's thank one of our newer sponsors across the Talk North platform, Giggly THC Beverages, Gigli. Keep the good times rolling without the regrets. Giggly THC Beverages are your go-to for bold flavor and smooth vibes. Zero alcohol, no bad decisions, just THC-infused cocktails, seltzers, and teas packed with natural ingredients and performance-boosting superfoods like ashwagandha and ginseng. Find Giggly at more than 500 locations like Total Wine, MGM, and Cub Foods, or shop online at giggly.com. Ready to upgrade your drink game? Use the code GIGLYNORTH, Gigli North, for 50% off your first order. Giggly, sip smarter, feel better. Another one of our presenting sponsors is OnX Hunt. Ice fishing is here, and it's time to hit the frozen water with OnX Fish. Fish app is the most comprehensive fishing tool for increasing your confidence on ice. Use OnX Fish to find new places to fish and sort lakes by species, abundance, trophy, and keeper potentials. OnX Fish also shows you hot spots, lake-by-lake regulations, and private and public land ownership information. For a limited time, download OnX Fish for free in Minnesota and Wisconsin, or go to onxmaps.com/fish. Get more information on the app that is changing the game on ice. Interesting that that conversation about hitting the ball the other way came up at a time when our guys in Fort Myers at the Star Tribune, Bobby Nightingale and Phil Miller, also ran a piece on Austin Martin. Austin Martin was a great hitting prospect coming out of Vanderbilt. He was a very promising guy, which is why the Twins traded for him, and he just has not been an offensive force in the Twins organization. He's become more of a utility guy because he has some speed and athletic ability. Now he's talking about, stopping, trying to hit the ball to the fence, using the whole field. Roy, how do you think that plays into his future?
I think that's wonderful to hear. They don't need to have Austin Martin hit one home run. They really don't. If he can hit 300, based on his success in the past in college and the minor leagues, if he can hit line drives all over the field, then he's going to be an offensive force with his speed, and he's going to be an offensive force for the Twins. The thing about Austin Martin for me is that when I watched him, this past year, I really like his demeanor at the plate. I like his plate coverage. I like the way he seems to see the ball, and how short and quick his swing can be when he's swinging well. And what's interesting about hitting the ball up the middle and the other way a little bit is how much it shortens your swing. I mean, it just does. It's one of the primary beneficiaries of that approach. And I think he does have an innate understanding, an innate sense of where the big end of the bat is relative to his hands as he starts to swing at a pitch. And I think that would give him a chance to be able to square the ball up on pitches and hit it all over the field. And it's such a breaking ball league. Everybody, all these pitchers want to throw breaking balls a lot. Even when you're struggling with fastball a little bit, you're going to get some cookie breaking balls in the middle of the plate. And with him trying to hit the ball all over the field, I think if he will really commit to that, I think you'll see a different Austin Martin this year.
I'm baffled by his statement because when he was traded, when he came over in that Jose Barrios trade along with Simeon Woods Richardson, Derek Falvey was gushing about how he thought he was the best hitter in the draft year he came out of Vanderbilt, which Jim alluded to. But one of the things the Twins did when he entered their system was to try to get him to hit for more power and to drive the ball more, and it resulted in disastrous results. So after that initial trial period, he went back to trying to hit his normal way, and I think he ended up hitting over 300 at AAA St. Paul and getting promoted to the majors. And I didn't look at him, just thinking about him at the plate last year. I didn't think he was trying to hit for more power. I just thought he was just trying to make solid contact. So if he says that's what he's been doing, and he wants to change, well, good luck to him on that one, because you look at him in the clubhouse, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have any muscles, but he doesn't look like a guy that that would destroy the baseball. He should be working on making solid contact, using the whole field and putting the ball in place so he can use the speed he has. So if he's still trying to break bad habits that he picked up when he first joined the organization, that's unfortunate, because that means we haven't seen the real Austin Martin yet. And that also at the same time means it could be really interesting, because if he does go back to the approach that served him well, then the Twins are getting more than just a utility player.
Yes. Let's get to Varland, Paddack, and Kyle Gibson next. We do want you to hear more about Aquarius Home Services.
Scott for Aquarius Home Services. Time for a cold weather check-in. If your furnace sounds like sneakers tumbling in a dryer, it just might be time for a little TLC. Right now, enjoy $98 off any furnace repair with Aquarius. Give your home the warmth it's been not so subtly asking for. A worry-free furnace is just a click away at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended and keeping you cozy all winter long.
Here's our Talk North colleague, Michael Russo, for Clamshell Beach Resorts.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
Thanks always to Minnesota Masonic Charities.
When people think of the Freemasons, they often think of secret handshakes and unusual hats, and of course, the pancake breakfast. Minnesota Masonic Charities would prefer that you think about the work that they do right here in our community. Places like the Masonic Cancer Center at the University of Minnesota or the Masonic Children's Hospital and the Masonic Home in Bloomington. They are just a few examples of the important work that the Freemasons support here in Minnesota. As part of the largest fraternal organization in the world, Masons have consistently answered the call when it comes to charitable needs. We look forward to learning so much more about their many programs here in the weeks to come.
And here's another one of our Talk North colleagues, John Krasinski for True Vision Institute.
True Vision Institute in Bloomington. I've been telling you about it for months now. Just a life-changing experience for me to go to True Vision and have LASIK surgery this summer. Everything is easier for me after having LASIK surgery. I don't have the hassles of contacts and eyeglasses. I don't have to worry about going in for annual appointments to get the eyes checked, and also to make sure that I have the latest and greatest style of glasses and I'm not looking like some washed up 46-year-old like I am, trying to stay ahead of the trends. I don't have that anymore. I'm just going around free and clear without anything on my face. And that's all thanks to the good folks at True Vision. When you go into True Vision, you will immediately notice how welcoming, how warm, how friendly, and how knowledgeable the staff is there. They get you in, they get you checked out, they find the right vision correction options for you. And then Dr. Chu is just world class in how he helps you through the procedure, how he makes sure that he gets you taken care of, and like he did with me. And I've had zero issues with my vision since I had the surgery in July. And I just keep kicking myself and wishing I would have done it 10 years ago. So go to truevision.com and set up your consultation. Tell them the John Krasinski Show sent you and get on with your life. Make it easier on yourself and just get to the point where you can kick your own self in the butt and say, why didn't I do this a long time ago?
Reminder, at the end of the show, we'll do our Booze and Blues segment. Mine is going to be very predictable once again, but we usually come up with some fun stuff there. We plan on keeping that going even during the season, just because it's been fun to do. For now, so end of the 2022 season, Varland and Paddack looked like dominant bullpen figures, starters with whose stuff ramped up when they used them in the late innings. Now it sounds like Varland might be headed back to the bullpen. LaVelle, what are you hearing about him and Paddack?
Yeah, actually, I had to fill in a KFN yesterday at the last second. I was able to get Derek Falvey on. And Derek alluded to Varland trending to be in the bullpen at the beginning of the year, which I think is a great development for him and for the Twins bullpen. Already solid-looking bullpen with Griffin Jackson, Cole Sands setting up Juan Duran and a healthy Brock Stewart, I almost said Cole Stewart, and Jorge Alcala, who throws hard. If he steps into that mix, they really have got some force coming out of that bullpen. The funny thing is, what was a year and a half ago, I ran into some of Varland's family members, and they were like, Louis wants to start, but we think he'd be better as a reliever.
I love that.
So even his family thought that Louis should be in the bullpen. So it sounds like that's what's going to happen. I think, after a transition period, Varland will discover that allows him to be the best version of himself. God, I hate saying that phrase. Instead of, you can understand why you want to stick as a starter, because if you're an average starter in Major League Baseball, you're making $15 million a year. So I totally get that, but he may not be a Major League caliber starter, but he's definitely an above average Major Leaguer as a reliever if he harnesses all his talent. So this is an interesting development for the Twins.
Yeah. What are you thinking about Paddack, LaVelle?
Paddack, do we know what Chris Paddack is? I'm not sure, because he hasn't been healthy enough to see what he can do. They were enamored with him coming out when they brought him in from San Diego. And he's got talent, but he hasn't been healthy. And I think he's a total wild card in this mix here. He could definitely be the back end of a rotation guy, and if he's healthy, he could be effective. I just don't know how good of a pitcher he is, because I haven't had a chance to see much of him because of the injuries. And so,
yeah, I was asking about him. I was in the context of what are they thinking? I mean, so Louis trending toward bullpen. Where's Paddack trending? I mean, have they had, to Jim's point, have they had any thoughts about him at all?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I have not heard anything about Paddack going to the bullpen. Everything, all the indications are is that he's going to be in the mix for a bullpen spot. So that didn't come up
for a bullpen.
You mean rotation?
For a rotation.
The rotation.
Spot.
Yeah.
The bullpen thing has not come up. And here's the thing too: if Varland's going to be trending for the bullpen, then they really don't need Paddack in the bullpen, do they? So hopefully he can prove that he could be in a rotation.
Yeah, Varland in the bullpen makes a lot of sense to me. I think that the whole thing hinges the pitching staff for me, the bullpen for me hinges on Brock Stewart, the way the lineup hinges on Buck. Mm-hmm. Buck plays 130 games or 120 games in the outfield and 20 games at DH or something. That's immense. Brock Stewart go through, regain all the stuff that we've seen him have and stay healthy, throughout the year. That is immense. And you can get a scenario where, you really would rather not use Duran at the end of the game. You really rather not use Griffin Jackson. Maybe they've both pitched a couple times in a row to close out games. Yeah, that Brock Stewart stuff can close out a game if you needed to later. And then the seven, that's just nasty with Brock Stewart and Griffin Jackson and Duran. So I think the whole bullpen. So nice to have Louis Varland in there setting those guys up. Same with Alcala, especially Cole Sands. I love his stuff. And now if Coulomb can get the left-handers out, especially, then you got. Then I'm all in on best bullpen in baseball or close to it. So I want Paddack to compete for a starting spot, and I want Brock Stewart to be, and Louis in the bullpen and Brock Stewart to be healthy.
And that projection of the Twins bullpen being the best in baseball was before it was known that Varland was trending for the bullpen. So that makes him even more dangerous. But, the thing is, too, relievers and bullpens can be volatile from year to year. What worked well one year can go haywire the next. But it looks like the Twins have enough quality arms in that bullpen to sustain anyone having kind of an up and down season. I do think they may have to go out and get another lefty before the season's over if they're in it. Colomb was effective with the Orioles. He doesn't really throw hard. He's more of a 90-91 guy. And I don't know if Thunderberg is equipped to be consistently effective on the major league level. So if there's one concern is that they may have to add to the left-handed relief contingent.
Completely agree with that.
Yep. Do we expect Topa to be a contributor this year, LaVelle?
That's another guy. I did not know what Justin Topa looked like until September when he got healthy. It was in the clubhouse. And they're like, who are they talking to? And that's Justin Topa. I was like, oh, that's what he looks like. Because I never saw him because he was injured all year. So that's another guy. Whatever you get out of him is a plus. He's got a good moving fastball and a good breaking ball. And the Twins thought he was going to be a guy that helped them in the 7th and 8th innings. And if he can show that form, that's another plus for them. So, but again, I put him and Paddack in the same wild card spot, respective to the, Paddack being a starter and Topa being a reliever, is because it's just that we haven't seen much of Topa. So we don't know how good he can be. We're just going on like 2 years ago when he was with the Seattle Mariners. And yeah, he has been effective in the past. Does he still have it? Because I think Topa's got to be about 33, 34 now. So I'm curious to see how he pitches because I just haven't seen him pitch yet.
What about sorry, it's had an absolute brain cramp. I wanted to bring up the Byron Buxton quote. He was talking about bringing Nick, the Twins trainer, down to Baxley, Georgia to see his workout facilities and check in on him. And he said, yeah, I showed him all 3 stoplights. And for me, who actually spent time in Baxley with Byron when I was working on a big story on him a number of years back, it's not quite as small as he makes it sound. It's kind of sprawling, but there are only 3 stoplights. Just means there aren't that many buildings. It's like it's a small town that kind of sprawls out because there's a lot of room, but there really are only 3 stoplights. I will say the facilities are nice. It's a nice high school, and like most southern cities and towns, they invest a lot in their athletic facilities. And Byron's lives in his parents live in a nice little house. He's got a nice place, but I just enjoyed that comment. He is a small town guy.
Buck came up a couple of days ago because Phil did that story about stealing bases and how the Twins don't do that. And Carew egging Buxton on about stealing 60 bases. And I've had this conversation with Byron through the years because he was like, I still think I can steal 35 or 40 bases. And I told Byron, I said, yeah, but you don't get on first base enough to steal because one, if you're hitting the way you hit, as soon as you touch the ball, it's a double, triple, a homer, and you don't walk a lot. So when are you on first base where you can still sack it? You just aren't. He was like, I can still steal 30, I can still steal 40. So that has come up 2 or 3 times through the years, and he still claims he can swipe a lot of bases, but I just don't think he could get to first base enough to do it.
You know how we can get Buck to steal more bases? Get him committed to hitting the ball up the middle and the other way.
Yeah, true.
I'm just saying. I mean, I could go. The tentacles of this this rant go on and on and on. But I will just say, that the way Buck gets on first base more, set up to let the ball travel more. He'll take more pitches that are outside the strike zone. He'll walk more. He'll get more 2-0 pitches that he hits 9 miles to his pull field. He won't swing at pitches early in counts that make him 0-2 instead of 2-0. I mean, all right, I'll stop now.
No, you're absolutely right.
He could be a 30-30 player. I mean,
there's no doubt.
No question he can be a 30-30 player.
There's no doubt, but he's not going to do either one. He's not going to hit either 30 trying to jerk the ball to left field.
Yep, that's true. And that is well established, yes. LaVelle, is there any chance, I know they're not spending money, so it's stupid to ask, but I'm going to ask anyway because why not? Is there any chance they go out and get Kyle Gibson?
Oh, no. Say it ain't so.
You don't want Kyle Gibson?
Oh, my gosh. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand. nibble, ball three, walk, nibble, another walk, nibble, have to throw it over, 3-run
right.
home run, game over.
Right. Pat Royce, he called him the nibbler. He did.
Oh my God! Oh, did he really?
Right
Well,
yeah, he's still out there. He's still out there, isn't he? I don't see it. I think the way the Twins pitching inventory sets up this year, you're beyond the top 5 that we're projecting. You're going to have Zebby Matthews, and you're going to have David Festa, Andrew Morris, and Marco Rea kind of lined up there to step in if they need help in the rotation. And I don't know if they have a veteran arm type that they can percolate at AAA just in case they need him. So, and if there's an emergency, they can always stretch Louis Varland out if he's not going to be a starter at the beginning of the year. So, I don't know if Kyle Gibson reunion's in the works unless he agrees to pitch in the minors and wait for a shot. I
actually think he's your fourth. I actually think he's your fourth starter if you sign him.
Unless he agrees to pitch in the strike zone, you mean?
Okay. Your scars are showing, Roy, and like you in the broadcast booth, us in the press box. Our number one enemy is pitchers who take a long time and won't throw strikes. We all hate that person, and I'm with you on that. I will just counter by saying, Kyle Gibson, for all of his flaws, his last 4 full healthy seasons, 2021, 22, 23, 24. 182 innings, 167 innings, 192 innings, 170 innings. Not many pitchers do that anymore.
4 straight years of making 30 starts.
I don't want to. I'm not denigrating his stuff or his ability. I actually think that he would be a really good 4th starter on the Twins. I really do. My problem is he could have been a second number 2 starter on the Twins. When he was here, many years ago. With that stuff, he can get big league hitters out, left-handers and right-handers. The problem is that he kept trying to throw the ball every pitch on one or the other of the corners. And, when he's right, when it's just off the corner, he gets swings and misses. That breaking ball to right-handed hitters, when it's close enough to be swung at, either a strike or close enough, I mean, they can't hit it. They strike out on that pitch. His changeup on the other corner, fastball to left-handers, changeup on the corner, that gets left-handers out. The problem that I had was that he just never was able to develop the confidence in his stuff to throw it in the low strike zone enough of the time where there weren't 2 walks and a double and a home run in an inning. I know he pitched 180 innings, but the problem with that is that, he pitched 6 good innings and give up 4 runs in 1 inning, because of that nibbling, and that's what used to drive me crazy. Not because I wanted the game to go faster. I wanted him to be successful. I wanted him to be able to use that stuff, and it just never materialized for me.
Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers from last year. 8-8 with a 4.2 ERA. That's good enough to be on someone's rotation. I just don't know if the Twins are a good fit for him right now, but if he's on the right team with a good defense behind him, because they're going to put the ball in play against him, he can get a few guys out.
Well, there was a time when they thought he was going to be their ace, and he just never did it. So listen, I'm not making a pitch to spend $1 billion on him, or that he's anything more than a fourth or fifth starter. But I think he just having somebody who can pitch innings is just so valuable these days.
No doubt.
I'd give him another shot, another chance to drive me crazy.
Yeah, that's the right way to put it. Please, Kyle, come to Minnesota so we can complain about you a lot. But we'd be complaining about you in the 6th inning, which is unusual in today's baseball game. All right, let's go to Booze and Blues. And I will start off, and I know I've been hammering the Beatles memories, legacy lately, but I got to follow up with one more while you guys think of your contributions, which can be booze as well or as blues. You're not going to believe this. Paul McCartney, guess what song he and his bandmates sing when they're on their way to stage to warm up these days?
They have a walkout song.
They no, but it's just for themselves. Nobody, only people like behind scenes can hear it. Nobody in this audience hears it. It's just to have fun and get loose before singing. You won't believe it. You won't believe it. You won't ever guess it. But if you want to offer a guess, go ahead, do it quickly.
Ain't No Mountain.
That wouldn't be a bad choice, but that's too logical a choice. The choice they made was completely illogical. And I won't torture anymore. I'll just tell you. They sing, "Hey, hey, we're the Monkees."
Oh, God.
There's video of Paul McCartney and his bandmates, and he has a fantastic band. Incredible guitarist, great drummer. And Paul is a great guitarist and piano player as well as bass player. And they sing the whole song, "Hey, hey, we're the Monkees," on the way out. And it's just so freaking funny because, of course, the Monkees were an American TV show built to capitalize on the popularity of the Beatles.
Since I don't have much of a to offer on this segment, I'm going to ask you, did you see him sing during the SNL 50th anniversary show?
I'm about to go watch it, actually.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, he sings during that. So
he's fantastic. And by the way, I also did, I don't know if you guys saw him. Did you guys go to the Paul McCartney concert at Target Field way back when?
No, I did not.
Oh, it's fantastic. Just fantastic. Anyway, one more Beatles comment. I was listening to Tom Petty radio the other day, and he came on and he said, and he was about to play he of course, when he was alive, he used to DJ some stuff on his own channel on Sirius XM. And he said, I got to play something by the Beatles. The Beatles, that's the one band that you look at and you go, I can't do that. And it's just so true. I mean, there's so many great artists who can do so many things, but nobody can replicate what the Beatles did. Roy, do you have a Booze and Blues segment for us?
Yeah, I'll talk about another blues guitarist that I found. And when I say found, this guy's been great for a long time. I just hadn't listened to him much until I mentioned on this show the Tab Benoit song, I Put a Spell on You, which is just phenomenal. It turns out, that Kenny Neal played with them. They did a whole album, kind of a New Orleans blues and Rocky blues album, and together. And but that I Put a Spell on You song is just, it immediately became one of my my go-to favorite blues songs. They're both such great blues guitarists, but I hadn't heard much of Kenny Neal at all. And a guy's been around for a long, long time. And so I just started, clicking through songs on iTunes, and I came up with 4 or 5 songs that I mean, he's my latest go-to guy. I just love him. Amazing that he hasn't gotten a little bit more, notoriety for being around as long as he has been and playing. But to give you just a brief glimpse of it, he's a really nice blues guitar player. But coming from New Orleans, he's got a really cool style about him. I actually put a list together with Kenny Neal and some of the funkier Albert King, a B.B. King song with Tracy Chapman on it when they do The Thrill Is Gone. And I called the list Blues Cool, and it's dominated by Kenny Neal because it's so doggone fun to listen to. So anyway, that's my latest. Kenny Neal, check him out.
Awesome. What do you got for us, LaVelle?
The only thing I got really is what I'm going to do. I was just realizing I haven't listened to any good music lately, so I think I'm going to plug in some Robin Trower in the coming days. Great guitarist. I believe he battled cancer in about 20 years ago, but he had a bunch of hits like Bridge of Sighs and some other songs, and plays a variety of instruments in addition to the guitar. And he's like one of my more favorite guys. I've got a couple of his albums at home. Just great, very versatile. And at 79, he is still playing. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to some Robin Trower, I would suggest listening to him as I'm about to do. I'm going to refamiliarize myself with his works here pretty soon.
One thing you realize when you delve deeply into the careers of all these great artists, including Robin Trower, is these people can do anything. I mean, I've been a Springsteen fan all my life. I only recently figured out that he's championed a lot of great black artists that weren't as popular as they could have been, or he wanted help with a comeback. He plays bass on a lot of their albums. He plays keyboards on some of their albums. These guys are all just so people are all so incredibly talented. They all play about 6 instruments.
Yep. And another thing about Trower too is that he had to cancel a tour last year because of health issues, and it was going to be a U.S. tour. So I got to imagine if it looks like he's gotten past these issues, so he may be coming to the United States here pretty soon to take part in the tour that he had to cancel. So that's another reason why I'm going to pop in his music here pretty soon.
Beautiful. Hey, good stuff, gentlemen. Really looking forward to having some Twins actual baseball to talk about, even if it's only spring training baseball. I think we'll have some interesting news developments from down there. Rocco's been pretty upfront about his plans. So for LaVelle Neal III, Roy Smalley, and Jim Souhan, thanks so much for listening to TalkNorth.com. We'll talk to you next week.